Okay, let's see if we've gone live here. Yep, looks like we have. And I'll see if anybody pops in here real quick. Now, I want to also make this alive on TikTok, which will be great. 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. So we're live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. Let's see if anybody comes in. So what I was going to do mainly is go over some rubrics for getting into PA school. There's the one that I use very commonly from Widener University. I want to see if there's others, and I want to see what they have in common. And then as people kind of come in, participate in the live, which I hope you do, if anyone's watching quite yet, then we'll ask your questions, we'll take your questions, and we'll see what you guys, possibly need my help with. I also invited a couple of people. I think I invited Elijah, I invited James, I invited a girl named Kelly, who actually has her own practice. She's a physician assistant. And so I want to see what they have to say about certain things. And yeah, I think that's kind of how we'll do it today. Now, also, let me see. Yeah, I still have to, for TikTok, I still have to use this like janky mechanism where I'm just kind of standing up my phone and, filming my screen from my MacBook so that I can go live on YouTube at the same time. I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but I'd certainly really like to figure it out. I know Instagram, you can go live as well. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys kind of pop in here for the next few minutes. And then, hopefully we'll get some people in here to actually watch. So, all right. Looks like we got a couple people joining on TikTok. See if anybody's joining on YouTube. Okay, cool. We got a couple people in on TikTok. I'm going to give it like 5 more minutes, and then we'll start really looking at these rubrics. And that'll also give me time to kind of figure out what we're going to do here. So let's see. I'm going to present. See if that'll work. I'm going to present on. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to present on YouTube, and then you can also kind of see the same screen on TikTok. I hope. There we go. There we go. Okay, very cool. So I'm going to check this out. So first things first. This is the one I always use, and I want to see if there's any other rubrics that are also kind of similar. And again, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. I want this to be interactive. As soon as anybody's in here, I'm going to check the comments. And yeah, we'll go from there. So this is the rubric, just to kind of start making this video. This is the rubric that I always use. All right. Is this the same for every school? Absolutely not. Is this the one that I like to use just because it's so spelled out and laid out very well? Yeah, this is the one I like to use. So as you can see, these are the kinds of things that are considered when they're considering your application. So starting from the top, applicant name, undergrad institution, transcripts, prerequisites. So first things first, this is a bare minimum. Did you submit your transcripts? Are the prerequisites met with the minimum grades that you need for the prerequisites to be met? So let's say it requires OChem 1. Did you take OChem 1? Did you get at least a C or whatever they require? If it's a C minus, no good. If it's a D, no good. If it's a C plus or a C, okay, fine. Not great for your transcript, but quite good for just meeting the prerequisite requirement. Letters of recommendation, have they been submitted? Did you take the time to plan out when those are going to be requested? Have they been submitted in adequate time to be verified with your CASPA? All that kind of stuff. And I think my eggs are done, so give me just 1 second here as I wait like 2 more minutes for people to come in. Okay, back for a second here. Okay, very cool. So anyway, so we were talking about just the very bare minimum. So you can see here at the top of the rubric, just the bare minimums before they even look at the rest of the application, before they even look to see if you're competitive. These must be met, or essentially you're not really even considered because these are the things that are the bare minimums. So transcripts, prerequisites with the proper grades for those prerequisites, letters of recommendation, personal statement. Obviously, you have a blank personal statement. Why would you submit your CASPA? And then minimum, in this case, is 500 hours of patient care experience. For some schools, it's 750. Some schools, it's 1,000. Some schools are crazy and they actually require, 2,000. which is not many schools. I think Medex in Wisconsin or someplace is like that, but there's not many that are 2,000. But anyway, for this particular school, these are the bare minimum basic requirements. So when you're planning for your application, when you're planning to apply, these are the things that you absolutely, first things first, must meet. Okay? So these things are met. Let's say they're good. What does it say? Encourage viewers to share your live. Yeah, guys, please share this. I'm going to be on for the next hour, about maybe 45 minutes or so, because I do have a pre-PA counseling at 6 o'clock. But until I sign on for that, that's what we're going to go. Just got the #1 gifter badge. Not sure what that means, but thank you to Roja. I think that's how you pronounce it. But anyway, yeah, thank you. Okay, so anyway, so these are the bare minimums that you must meet. Once you've met them, now you're in the bucket of all the people that you're competing with that have met these minimum requirements. Now you have certain points assigned. Ooh, thank you guys. I see 13 likes. Let's get that up to, I don't know what's an ambitious goal. Let's say 100 likes by the end of the live stream. All right, if we get 100 likes, that'll be pretty sick. Anyway, I was watching the Super Bowl with a guy who got like, I think 10,000 likes over the course of just streaming the Super Bowl. I think this is more valuable than Super Bowl. So go ahead and give me some likes, please. Encourage me to keep doing this. But anyway, okay, so let's say you've met the minimum requirements. You've met the minimum requirements, and now you're being considered. So now they use kind of a point system. Do you do undergrad pre-PA mentoring? I sure do. Personalstatementpros.com. Personalstatementpros.com. The link is going to be in my profile. Myself and my business partner, Elijah, who's a current PA student, have been doing this for a number of years. So yeah, definitely get mentorship if you need it, or just use the thousands of free resources and videos that we have. If you can't afford it, we want to help everybody. Okay, next. So right here, we have high standard, 20 points, medium standard, 15 points, low standard, 10 points. If you're below that, I guess you get 0 points, but they don't explicitly say that. So again, this is just one school. Not every school is like this, but we're going to go with this particular school. So cumulative GPA. Everybody always asks me, hey, here's my GPA. Here's my stats. What are my odds? What are my chances? Well, here you go, right here. So cumulative GPA 3.5 to 4.0, 3.5 and above is high standard. You get the maximum number of points. Let's say you have a 3.6. Are you doing better than someone with a 3.5? I guess in this case, no, right? You're in the same high standard. You can't get 25 points. You can get 20 points. So 3.5 is kind of their cutoff for their most competitive applicants. Same with science GPA, 3.5. 3.2 is decently competitive, medium. And then low standard is 2.7. I don't know what the school's minimum is. If it's a 3.0, then I'm not sure why they even have a 2.7. Maybe they'll consider people who do less than their minimum. Maybe their minimum is 2.7. I don't know. But either way, so right here, if you have a 2.7 for this particular school, you're kind of in the low standard, but maybe it's still good enough because they don't have a minimum GPA. So there's that. Now we're moving on, now that we understand what the GPA is. So if you have a 3.9, I guess you're kind of even with someone who has a 3.5, which is stupid because 3.9 is infinitely harder to get. But at least according to this rubric, that's how it is. Maybe if you have the same number of points, maybe they take the guy with a higher GPA. I don't know. But anyway, moving on from GPA to personal statement. And also this person here says, if all person has a low GPA, would they consider post-bac or MPH? What are the options? So I definitely have a lot of videos for getting in with a low GPA. I would prefer, personally, a post-bac because it's more undergraduate classes. MPH, even science-based masters are not quite consistent as far as the difficulty of their courses. So I would probably say post-bac or something undergraduate, but I've seen plenty of people get in with a master's, not by doing more undergraduate courses. But either way, if you have a low GPA, you've got to prove yourself academically in some way, shape, or form. So give me 30 seconds. I'm going to flip my burgers over there. And I also want to see if anyone's on YouTube. Oh, here we go. Bia says, hi from Sacramento, California. Of course, more valuable than the Super Bowl. Very cool. So we've got 3 people watching on YouTube, and we've got, looks like 10 on TikTok. Very cool. So yeah, thank you, Bia. Hi, Bia. Thank you for saying this is more valuable than the Super Bowl. Yeah, I would say that it is. It actually gives you a future. It's not just entertainment, but we all know entertainment is kind of king as far as content goes, which is okay. So give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Did we lose everyone? Yeah, we lost almost everyone. Great. I don't know. It's okay. People will come back in. So now we are back on YouTube. We're back on TikTok. Let's get right back to this live. And guys, again, if you have questions, please post your questions. This is supposed to be interactive. I'm still seeing if I'm getting texts from the people I invited. We might get some people as guests. We might not. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's keep moving. So we talked about minimum requirements right here. We talked about GPA, what's competitive, what's medium competitive, what's low standard, and what's just kind of substandard, what's not competitive. Now we're talking about personal statements, and I will draw your attention right here. Check this out. So 20 points for the highest possible GPA, 3.5. You get 20 points for an excellent personal statement. So when people are saying, I've seen a lot of kind of honestly clickbaity kind of BS wannabe PA influencers talking about how like, oh, you don't have to have a great GPA. You just have to have a really good personal statement. Not true at all. Look, 20 points for the GPA, 20 points for the personal statement. If somebody has a good GPA and a good personal statement, that's 40 points. If you have only one of those and you have like a substandard GPA, that's 35 points, you know? So they're both important. They're all considered. So in this case, personal statement, a really, really solid personal statement gets you 20 points, which is just as important as a high GPA, at least according to this rubric. So what does a really good PA school personal statement involve? So right here, strong statement around the desire to be a PA. So that's something that does not fall into what I call the, what do I call that? It's called like the narrative or the life story problem. People like to like tell their whole life story, and then they end up not even talking about this. Why do you want to be a PA? Which is the whole prompt. So you really don't want to do that. And then Elijah just said, I won't be able to because our skills lab is running late, but I hope the live goes well. It's okay. He'll be on another one. But anyway, okay, moving on. So do you like actually communicate clearly why you want to be a PA? The best thing to talk about here is your own experiences. Let's say from shadowing, let's say from being treated by a PA, a family member being treated by a PA, PAs that you've worked with, your personal experience demonstrating understanding of the profession and why this profession is perfect for you, why you would be a good PA. So this is the main thing. Next, understanding the scope of practice of a PA. So your personal statement should not be just, why do I want to practice medicine? It's why is this role perfect for me? Is it the lateral mobility? Is it the shorter training? Why is that perfect for you? Is it just the utility of the PA? Specifically, you can expand quality medical care to underserved communities where they may not be able to afford a physician, or that institution, that clinic may not be able to afford a physician. PAs can be much more affordable, so you want to really help certain populations. That's excellent, you know, that kind of a thing. There's a million different reasons to want to be a PA. Those are the ones you should talk about, and also demonstrate understanding of the scope of practice. This right here, identifying one's strengths and weaknesses. So do you actually have to have like a whole paragraph that says, my strengths are this? I'm really good at studying. I'm really good at patient care. I have a good bedside manner. People like me. Or like your weaknesses, right? Like I crack under pressure. I can't take tests. I don't know, you know, like obviously not. But this right here, basically, the way I would sum this up is you want to talk about growth. So you don't want to fall into the narrative problem where you just like want to talk about your whole life. Here, you just need to talk about 1 or 2 points of growth, where you grew as a person, and hopefully how that became more consistent with your desire to become a PA, right? So this right here is kind of interwoven in here. This is kind of be more of a minor theme. If you read my book, if you watch my videos, I talk about major themes, which are going to be why you want to be a PA, like the exact reasons, and minor themes, kind of stuff that kind of dresses that up a little bit more. So this would probably be more of a minor theme, but this is what makes for a good personal statement according to this rubric. Now, what makes an okay personal statement? Right here, giving a satisfactory answer for why you want to be a PA, not strong, but something like, I don't know, I wanted to be a doctor and now I shadowed a PA and then I think like she was cool, so I want to be a PA. Like, okay, is that satisfactory? Maybe not, but it's at least something. It's not like, okay, I have very solid reasons for why I want to do this exact thing, right? For instance, like a perfect example, I worked at the ER and we had a provider, a PA that used to work in derm. We had another one that used to work in ortho. We had another one that used to work in GI, and just having that level of expertise, that kind of hive mind that I forget the word, but it's the coolest word where like all the trees are connected and like all the knowledge is shared. It's that kind of thing. If somebody wants to put that in the chat, that'll be sweet if you know that word. But anyway, like where like knowledge is shared, it's a team-based approach. I guess the biggest difference between a medical school essay versus a PA essay is PAs are more team-based. So you really like working in a team. You don't want to have all the knowledge. You don't want to be an island. You really want to work as a team with your collaborating physicians, with the other members of the team, with other mid-levels. That's kind of what you want to focus on. Whereas as a physician, someone applying to DO or MD schools programs, you guys want to talk more about kind of wanting to be the subject matter expert, developing your medical knowledge over years in one field. That's kind of the difference between a PA essay and a medical doctor essay. And then here, a low standard essay would say, does not present a strong desire to be a PA, lacks clear understanding, doesn't really mention any of this stuff. So that's fair. Okay. What is next? So next we have letters of recommendation, which for this school actually are just as valuable, 20 points, as the personal statement and as the GPA, which is pretty cool. Pretty surprising, honestly, to me. Dylan Mercado just got the #2 glitter badge. I'm not really sure what that means, but thank you, Dylan Mercado, for whatever you just did. And also we have Dylan who says, I want to do procedures. Procedures are so satisfying, man. Procedures are so satisfying. I just stitched up a guy who cut himself all the way from here to here, like all the way. It was like I don't know, I want to say like a 8-centimeter laceration. It was linear. It was partial thickness, so it wasn't like all the way to the tendon sheath. There was no nerve damage, no tendon damage. So it was a basic suture job, with a splint. But being able to do something that big when he was that scared and bleeding that much, and then 15, 20 minutes later, I've got 8 stitches in there, and he's not bleeding. He's smiling now. He's like able to use his hand, and he's got like, it's so gratifying to be able to do procedures and literally in front of your eyes put people back together. It's the coolest thing in the world. Wish I could show you guys a picture, but that would be HIPAA, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, procedures, Dylan, 100% is probably one of the coolest things about being a PA. You get to do procedures a lot of times on your own, and it's just sweet. Dylan says, I'm an IR technologist and feel like I could do most of the procedures. Yeah, interventional radiology PAs do so many sweet procedures, central lines, ultrasound guided stuff. It's so cool. And then Aviator says, I currently work as an ER tech and the doctors are so wonderful and educating. Yeah, man. If you could find a doctor or like a seasoned PA that likes to teach, best thing in the world. Let me check YouTube very quick, see if there's any comments. BS says, I'm a nurse and decided to go to PA school, move into that prevention. Yeah, it's always really like gratifying and cool to me when somebody says they want to be a PA and they're a nurse. They don't want to go the NP route. They really like respect PAs and they want to be a PA. It's so cool, man. Like it's the coolest thing in the world. Nothing to say bad about NPs. It's just like it shows how much respect people have for PAs. But anyway, okay, moving on. Oh, how much does the interview play in the process? The interview is huge. However, the interview is after you've gotten through all this. So this is the rubric to consider your CASPA application to even decide to give you an interview or not. As you can see at the bottom, see high standard, however many points you get, recommendation, interview or wait list or no interview. All right. So what you want is this right here. You want that check in the box to say interview because you've met enough of these points to where you're, competitive. So let's finish up looking at this rubric. Right. And sorry, I'm late to the live, but where can we access this? So literally, if you just Google PA school admissions rubric, Widener University, you can find this one. And I'm actually going to go find some other rubrics too, because I want to kind of compare them. Okay. So moving on here to the letters of recommendation, which I just said is just as valuable as the personal statement and a high GPA, 20 points each. So strong letters of recommendation. All recommendations reflect excellent ratings. So I was actually shocked how few people know what this is, because this is, at least for this university, basically like a make or break situation. This is something you have to know and have to communicate to the people writing your letters of recommendation. Okay, what does this mean? So first things first, obviously a good letter of recommendation saying, good things about you. I always recommend 3 things. I always recommend at least 3 letters, and the letters are going to be from 3 different people. One person, I think personally, must be a PA, must be a physician assistant, hands down, or at the very least a nurse practitioner, some sort of mid-level provider. The reason for that is you want to do this and they have to know you and they have to basically talk about your characteristics. Are you like going to be a good representation of this profession? Do you have what it takes? Do they really think so? Right. So you have to have at least one letter from a PA stating that you understand the PA profession and that you have certain qualities that will make you a good PA. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I think would be a good thing to have is an academic reference. So I'll actually even type these out real quick for you guys, right? So let's just do a notepad just so you guys can kind of see this visually, right? Right here. So the three kinds of personal recommendation letters you must have for PA school are, let's just move this right over here. Okay. The three kinds of letters that you must have are a PA, a academic reference, and a character reference. What do I mean by all three of these? Okay, so a PA, obviously a physician assistant, and that person is going to demonstrate, they're going to describe your understanding of the PA profession and your potential to be a good PA. That should be obvious. Check. Next, academic reference. I suggest a professor, particularly a professor that maybe saw you struggle and then saw you improve and can attest to your academic skills, okay? Your academic ability, because we know PA school is super hard. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. So this person, this professor, hopefully, or at least a TA, will talk about your academic ability, how you can handle very tough academic environments. That should be obvious. Number three is a little bit more vague, but you go with me here. So number three is a character reference, okay? A character reference is somebody that you worked with, probably a supervisor, somebody you volunteered with, perhaps a supervisor or just somebody that you volunteered with, maybe somebody that you shadowed, but preferably somebody that you worked with or somebody that you volunteered with that can talk about basically you being a good person, you being personable, people liking working with you, like you don't piss everybody off. People don't like roll their eyes when they see your name on a schedule, right? Like people kind of like working with you. You have good bedside manner, you're personable, that kind of a thing. You have good high character, essentially, and you have people skills. That's what this is for. If you have these three, you're pretty solid. Now, CASPO allows 5, so I always recommend getting the 5 if possible, but these are the bare minimums, okay? Bare minimums. Those are the letters you want. Now, let's go back to the rubric. And let's check YouTube really, really quickly. Love all RPAs, love the profession, absolutely. Bia, you're going to be a great PA. We'll talk, offline sooner or later if you need help getting in. But yeah, thank you for watching on YouTube. Okay, next. So letters of recommendation, I think I pretty much talked about that at length. I think we're pretty good. Oh, no, we're not. We need to talk about this. I just want to see the comments real quick. And while I'm reading the comment, guys, if we can get these likes over 100, I'll be stoked. So let's probably hit the like button a couple times. Aviator said, if we only get excuse me, if we only get shadowing, PCE, and healthcare experience from the specialty we know we want to pursue, does that help or hurt? So it definitely doesn't hurt. However, it would be good. Oh, wow, 180 likes. You guys are awesome, man. I love you guys so much. So yeah, thank you so much. But anyway, so this person says, if we only get our patient care experience, shadowing, whatever, from the specialty we know we want to go into, so let's say orthopedics, let's say dermatology, let's say, cosmetics, is that good or bad? I would say it's okay. At least you have the understanding of a PA's role in that kind of specialty. But I would probably say that's not ideal. I would want you to shadow at least a few different kinds of PA roles, particularly if you have excuse me, a generalist. I think I need water, guys. Give me like 2 seconds. Here, maybe I'll flip it on my face, maybe I can't do that. I don't know. Anyway, I need water desperately because I've been talking nonstop for like a hot second. Also, quick aside, if you like filtered water, like the cleanest drinking water you'll ever have, the AquaTrue is like way too expensive for its own good. But a reverse osmosis system is like, it's the cleanest thing you'll ever taste. It's like there's literally nothing to it. No chemicals, no chlorine. But anyway, okay, back to this. You guys aren't here to hear me talk about water filters. Okay, so we're talking about shadowing. So this person said, if we get all of our shadowing and our patient care in one specialty, if it's something like emergency medicine or something like primary care or even like urgent care, I think that will probably be okay because you see such a range of complaints and you see a PA taking care of such a big range of complaints. That's fine. And then you also have all different kinds of experience levels, all different providers in there. If it's something super specialized, like, I don't know, let's say neurosurgery, let's say a specific kind of neurosurgery or like bariatric surgery, or let's say something super duper specific, like, injections, lip injections, whatever, like that's only a very small snippet of the PA profession. And I would prefer that you see something more generalized. So if you can, try to do emergency, try to do urgent care, try to do internal medicine, primary care, family medicine, something where you could really see a PA practicing at the very tippity top of their license, seeing all manner of complaints, doing all manner of procedures. So if you can, at least for your shadowing, at least for like 10 hours or so, just get some experience and then write about it. All right. So I hope that answers your question right there about the shadowing. This person says, DJ Manny says, this shadowing a PA that works in plastic surgery. Yeah, that would be great, especially if you want to work in plastic surgery. That's actually my dream, like actually getting time to stitch somebody properly, getting all the angles right, reducing scarring. Like I freaking love that. I love cosmetics. I love plastic surgery. When someone comes into my urgent care, if I'm not busy and I actually have time to stitch them properly, I am so overjoyed that I actually get to like put this person together, like just like the way they came back to original packaging, and like really reduce the scar and like make them feel like I care about them. Like that's my favorite. When I'm super busy and I have like 12 runny noses waiting for me to stitch this guy and I have to feel rushed, that's not my favorite. But anyway, so shadowing a PA that works in plastic surgery, yeah, that's great. Absolutely. But like I said, get some more generalist kind of experience too. And this person also says, I was wondering if shadowing a PA that works in aesthetics seems shallow. No, not at all. I just said how much I appreciate aesthetics and I really want to get into that field. I'm actually talking to someone about getting into that field. But again, that's a very narrow domain. It's not shallow. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Stay true to what you're interested in. However, do shadow somebody that's more generalist, because in PA school, going to have to break it to you, you're not just doing, freaking Botox and fillers. You're doing all kinds of stuff with all kinds of populations. You're going to do gastro. You're going to be doing like colonoscopies, or you're going to be watching them at least. You're going to be stitching up somebody who's fighting you in the ER who might be on drugs. You might be doing all kinds of stuff that's not just like a pretty aesthetic, nice smelling, aesthetics office. You're going to be doing real like hardcore medicine too. So I guess get like as much experience as you can, not just in like a very narrow domain. All right. You're very welcome. Moving on. So this right here, I really, really, really want people to pay attention right now. This is super stupid important. And I'm really, really surprised when people don't know about this. So right here, letters of recommendation. So when you submit a request for a letter of recommendation from a PA or a doctor or a professor or whomever, supervisor at a gas station where you worked, I don't care. When you submit this request, you submit this through CASPA. So this goes online to their email. You don't tell them, hey, write me a letter of recommendation. You tell them, what is your email? I'm going to send you a link for CASPA to ask for your letter of recommendation. All right. So they write the letter. They actually like write a letter about you, but that's not the only thing that they do. They also rate you in a number of different categories out of, I think, 5. So it's a Likert scale from 0 to 5. How good are you at certain things? I don't really know what the categories are. It's been a while since I've seen them, but there's a number of categories. This right here, 20 points, maximum points. All recommendations reflect excellent ratings. That means 5 out of 5 in every single category. Look right here. Ratings are between good and excellent, which means if you get even one good, even one 4 out of 5, you suddenly have fewer points than somebody who got all excellence. So that might not even reflect on you. That might just reflect on how somebody subjectively, rated this person. So this is something that is going to take some tact, some personal skills to communicate to the people that are writing you letters, but you need to communicate in some way, shape, or form, if they truly feel this way, to possibly please give you all 5 out of 5s, because if they don't, that makes you much less competitive compared to somebody who did get all 5 out of 5s. And of course, if you have one or more good ratings, then you're just toast. Like that's even worse. Look at that, 0 points. Here, medium, you get like mostly good and excellent, but you have a few goods in there. Medium. High standard is everything is excellent, 5 out of 5. So find some way to talk to these people that you're asking for recommendations, and find some way to communicate them how important it is that they give you all excellence. Okay. Now, how would I personally ask about that? I would just kind of educate them. Okay. I would just educate them about this rubric, educate them exactly about the process that they're going to go through. They will receive an email. You would like for them to make this happen in the next like 2 weeks to a month or so, give them a deadline. You want them to write about certain things, maybe even offer to give them a rubric, or maybe even write some of it for them to edit, whatever your relationship with this person is. So tell them to expect that. Also tell them to expect that you will be rating the applicant on a number of categories And it is very important for your competitiveness for you to get all 5 out of 5s. Find some way for them to understand that it's critically important. And I just showed you why. Okay. So that's super important. Right here, community engagement. That's another, or where can I find this PDF? If you just Google PA school rubric, Widener University, you'll find this one. But there's a number of other rubrics from different schools that might be a little bit different, but this is the one that I go off of just because it's laid out so nicely. This is not every single school's rubric, but this particular school it is. All right. Next, the next big category, that's 20 points, community engagement, worth literally as much as letters of recommendation, worth literally as much as personal statement, and worth literally as much as a high GPA. So that's how important this is. Community engagement demonstrates a commitment to community engagement, as in you're organizing some organization, you founded some organization, you're volunteering a lot, you're doing something that you care about. Does it have to be feeding the homeless? Does it have to be, going on a mission trip? No, not at all. It could be petting dogs. Literally, that was my entire community engagement. I spent like 500 hours petting dogs and picking up poop. Good enough, right? I really care about dogs. So throughout my entire years of being a pre-PA, I volunteered at dog shelters. I walked them. I did events. I helped them get adopted. I, bathed them. I fed them. I just spent time with them, cuddled the dogs. It was like the best community service ever. But that's what I did. And that was my community engagement. I demonstrated a care for my community. I wanted fewer homeless pets. I wanted the pets that were homeless to get good homes and to help the community and help the people. That's what I did. It could be freaking making furniture for people. It could be helping with the blind. It could be working Habitat for Humanity, because you're really passionate about helping homeless people to not be homeless, right? So it's whatever you really care about. Just make it congruent with who you are. If you really care about something, go find a way to volunteer in that. It does not have to be quote unquote medical at all, right? So demonstrates a commitment to community engagement, which means community service hours, maybe writing about your community service, maybe having a letter of recommendation from somebody that you worked with community service, something like that. That's what this is. That would probably be a 20-point situation. This right here, a medium recommendation articulates some interest in community or civic engagement. That's maybe you got 20 hours of community service over a weekend and you don't really talk about it much. It's just, okay, it was obviously just done for your resume, the end. Okay, this is fine, not great. This right here, zero community service, zero engagement with the community whatsoever. You don't even talk about it. You don't have any community service. They don't find that you've cared about anyone but yourself and your GPA. So this right here is obviously not where you want to be. Now, some schools actually have minimum community service hours. I've seen even up to 200, which is kind of a lot. But, most schools don't. Most just kind of want to see that you care and that you're congruent with caring about the community. Let me check YouTube very, very quickly. While I check YouTube, please give me some more likes. We're up to 741. That's insanity. If we can get this over 1,000, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be stoked. Okay, so Bia over here on YouTube is commenting, saying back to original packaging. Okay. Mentor high school girls through church. Will this count? Yeah, absolutely. 100% that's going to count. Look at that. All right, so she says right here, I mentor high school girls through church. Will this count? Yeah, you're absolutely serving your community. You're helping people that you care about. You're in an organization. It happens to be your church. Does it have to be a church, synagogue, mosque? No, not at all. It's just whatever you personally care about. Bia cares about her church and she cares about mentoring other people, kind of that were a few years behind where she might be. Hey, 1,000 likes. Woo! Wait, is there a way I can cheer or do something cool for you guys? Shoot, I wish I could. But anyway, I don't know. Put in the comments what you want me to do. 1,000 likes is freaking nuts. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for supporting this channel as much as you are. Also, make sure we keep an eye on the time because I have a pre-PA counseling at 6 p.m., which I cannot be late for because the person paid me for my time. But anyway, so yeah, be 11 years of mentoring high school girls through her church. That is absolutely 100%, 5 out of 5, 20 points, community engagement. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have to have 11 years of community service? No, not at all. You don't have to be on Bia's level, but it would be helpful. Okay, next. So these are the things that make you competitive. These are the bare minimums. These are the things that make you competitive. And these are special considerations, okay? So if you happen to be pretty competitive, it says, what is a good amount of patient care hours? So this school's minimum is 500, which is super duper low. My school's minimum, I think, was like 750 or 1,000. I've seen schools as high as 2,000. I usually say, if you're younger, now, of course, the schools will understand if you're 22, you're not the same as someone who's 32 and has been working in the medical field. So if someone is applying, they're 32, they've been a nurse for 10 years. Yeah, they're going to have, 10,000 plus hours of experience, maybe 20,000 plus. You're not expected to have that or compete with that. If you happen to be 22, you just graduated college, maybe, you did some patient care experience on the weekends, whatever, like you're probably going to have 1,000 or less. That's totally understandable. My kind of threshold is to say, try to get 1,000 or whatever the minimum is for your school. But, 1,000 is pretty good. It's 6 months of full-time work. You could totally get that by the end of your college career, especially if you utilize your weekends, nights, and summers. What is a good amount of patient care hours? I just answered that. What's a good amount of volunteer hours? That really depends. If your school has a minimum, if your school has a minimum of 200, you better get 200, or you won't be considered. But I would say a good number is like 50 to 100, throughout your college career, that kind of a thing. Just as long as you have some and it's congruent to something that you like, I wouldn't worry about it unless your school has a minimum. All right. Special considerations. 1 second, sip of water, and let's go into this. Okay. Special considerations. So who cares about this? A few people. Let's say you are quite competitive, but maybe you're not like 20 out of 20 in every category. Maybe your GPA is a 3.4. You're medium standard. You're not high standard. Maybe you wrote a good personal statement, but it's not the best. Okay. Maybe you're medium standard there. Maybe, you just like didn't take the time to get to know your professors, or maybe your supervisors, and you don't have a stellar like letters of recommendation. Maybe they're not fantastic. Or maybe you like just didn't really do community service for whatever reason. Maybe you were supporting yourself financially. You didn't have time to volunteer. Who knows? But maybe you're just not like really super competitive in one or more category. This is where something can save your butt. Or again, if you happen to be like a low GPA kind of person, you're substandard here, one of these could potentially save your butt. Now, what are these? And also someone said for academic letter of recommendation, is it okay if I get it from a professor who isn't from a PA prereq class? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? As long as this professor taught a difficult course and they saw you succeed and they know your work ethic, they know your participation, they know that you're just a solid student, you're personable, you always talk to them, you go to office hours, whatever. For whatever reason, you have a connection with this professor and they can attest to your academic ability, that person is a good reference as an academic reference, for a letter of recommendation. Please, please, please have those 3 letters of recommendation. A PA, where the hell did you go? There we go. There it went. Oh my God, why can't I do this? Oh, there we go. Because I can't use my MacBook. That's why. A PA, an academic reference, and a character reference. Okay. And this will be posted. So don't worry if you missed part of the live. I talk about these at length. All right. Next, special populations. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your help. Hey, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining the live and all the likes and all the engagement. All right. So this right here, where can special considerations save your butt if you happen to not be super competitive in one or more of these other categories? Special considerations, 5 points extra for each one. All right. So this isn't going to be like make it or break it. It's not going to be as much as a high GPA or a good essay, but 5 points could be a pretty big difference. It could set you apart from somebody else. James Moore said, just got home, bro. You free? Yeah. Let's go. James Moore. 1 second. I don't know if you guys know James Moore from my channel, but I'm absolutely inviting James Moore. Absolutely. I'm inviting James Moore. So he's the guy that got into PA school twice. Like this was the craziest story. This is the craziest story ever. James Moore got into PA school twice. He got in as a low GPA applicant. He did a master's and then he got into PA school. Then he failed out of PA school. And then he had to get in all over again. He had to convince them, hey, I failed out of PA school once. I promise I won't fail out again. Here's how. And now he's like finishing up his second round through PA school, and he's going to graduate fairly soon. So real quick, I'm just going to text James Moore here. Sorry for the interruption. I'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming in a second, but I really would love for James to hop on here, even if it's for a few minutes. Because I only have about 15 minutes left. But we're going to finish up this rubric. But I do really, really want to invite James Moore because he's going to talk about some things. Here's the link. Also emailed you. Okay. So yeah, we'll see if James Moore hops on here. I'll check in a few minutes. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. This is super important. All right. because this can kind of set you apart and make it or break it if you happen to not be super competitive. So let's go up here. Boris, this is all gold. Thank you for hosting. Hey, thank you for participating. Seriously. And also just a few questions. Do you think playing college sports separates yourself? Yeah, absolutely. That could even be kind of like community engagement. But also, yeah, being a college athlete, we know the strains and the stresses on those folks. It's really tough. So yeah, 100%. If I end with a 3.3 GPA, do you recommend doing a master's in health science? Not necessarily. I don't really prefer masters. I would prefer more undergraduate courses. Again, to prove yourself academically, the best way to go is 1 or 2 semesters of hard academic courses, a full load, 16 credits, get a high GPA. That's how you prove yourself academically. Not a big fan of masters. Great content you've been sharing. Hey, thank you very much, Bradley. This person already talked about their GPA. Okay, next. So this is super important. Before I get off topic and before I get James in here, I really, really, really want to show you guys this. So 5 points extra for these things. Check this out. So we're going to start from the bottom. This person, graduate of Widener University. So this is Widener University PA school. If you happen to be a graduate of that PA school, they will give you 5 extra points. Okay. So a lot of schools have this. If you're a graduate from like UNC or something, they'll give you extra points for being a graduate of that school. I'm not certain if UNC is like that, but a lot of programs are. Is it okay if I do a post back at a community college? I'm not a fan of community college either. I would rather it be a 4-year university. It doesn't have to be freaking Harvard, but 4-year university kind of post back would be best. Okay. Next, a resident of Chester. Chester happens to be where this school is. So if you're like a local resident of wherever the school is, I know a lot of colleges in North Carolina are like this. Texas definitely has in-state preference. You'll see that right on their website. You know, they will have preference for people who are from certain areas, specifically like the state or the local area that the school is in. So sometimes you'll get lots of points. So if you happen to be a resident of that area and you're a graduate of that university, boom, that's 10 points, which is awesome. Here's something that's a little harder to get: U.S. Uniformed Services. So that's being a veteran, right? Like Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, that kind of thing, you know, National Guard. Because the PA profession, if you guys don't know, actually started, come on, James, log on here. The PA profession actually started being basically designed to utilize the veterans' experience. It used to be like Navy corpsmen coming back from Vietnam with all this medical experience. They didn't want them to go to med school because it took forever. So they were like, how do we get these guys and utilize their knowledge? So veterans are a huge preference in PA programs. And what's weird is the last study that was done, I think this was a few years ago, 4% of PA school applicants are veterans. So if you're a veteran, you want to be a PA, got a big advantage. In this case, unfortunately, it's only 5 points, which I personally think is super dumb. As a veteran, come on, help us out more. You know, that's what the PA profession was designed to do. I think it should be more than 5. But anyway, this school says, you know, if you're a veteran, you get 5 points just off the bat. This one right here, underrepresented populations in the PA field. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by this, because if you look at the studies, essentially, or even do your own study, just look at class pictures of PAs. Essentially, everybody is a Caucasian female, and for some reason, they're all blonde. I don't understand how. I don't understand why, but essentially, every PA student is a blonde Caucasian female. There's nothing wrong with being a blonde Caucasian female. It just tends to be the most common population in the PA profession. Okay, why? I don't know. So I don't know exactly how they categorize this. Underrepresented populations. Is being male, just being a man in general, an underrepresented population because it's 20 to 30% of the incoming classes? I don't know if just being a male automatically gives you, 5 points. Maybe that's how I got in. I have no clue. But I don't really know how strict they are with this. Is it being African American? Is it being Asian? Is it being, I don't know. I have no clue what this exactly means, but I can probably tell you, rest assured, if you're a Caucasian female, this probably does not apply to you, which isn't really fair. If you're qualified in every other way, why does your race and your gender make it so that you'll be less competitive? That's kind of unfair. Like if I had a daughter who wanted to be a PA, just knowing that she would be essentially discriminated against because of her sex and gender and race, like I think that's not fair. But, it happens to be a thing in medicine. Then again, increasing diversity in medicine is important. And this is kind of how they're doing it. So, you can't please every single human on the face of the earth. This is a priority in medicine. We obviously know why it's a priority in medicine to increase diversity, because people listen to people who understand them, and that increases the health of the nation. So it happens to be something that's critically important. So, and if fewer people from certain populations have to, reach their dreams, it's kind of a trade-off that is being made. And, it's not fair to everybody, but at the same time, it is for the greater good. So, that's just my 2 cents. It's a nuanced topic. But in this case, if you happen to be, underrepresented in some way, shape, or form, it looks like they give you 5 points. Someone says, every PA I've ever seen is a blonde 20-something. Not everyone. You've seen me. I'm not blonde. I'm not 20-something, and I'm not a female, but most are. You're completely right. So anyway, all right. I want to see if James happened to pop in here. Hey, yes, he's here. Okay, sweet. James, get in here. I'm going to stop sharing.
What's up, bro?
There he is. How we doing?
I'm good, boss. Man, I literally just got home from urgent care today, so it's been good.
Can people on TikTok tell me if you hear James talking? Because I really want to make sure that you guys can hear him. Some people give me a yes or no. Yep, someone said yeah, good. Cool. Yeah, one day I would love. Somebody said yes, sweet. Thank you guys. Also, thank you for participating. 1,200 likes and like an average of 10 to 20 people in here at a time is amazing for a tiny channel. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I hope one day I'll be able to just stream to TikTok and YouTube at the same time. But right now we're doing this. Anyway, so James, I have like 8 minutes left. If I want to be late for my session, 10 minutes left. So I just want to give you the floor and let people ask you questions. James, like I said, got into PA school twice, 2 times. He got in, he ended up not, doing well. And then he had to convince them to let him in all over again. And now he's in a second time getting just ready to graduate pretty soon in a few months. So yeah, James, if you want to give like a 1 to 2 minute introduction and let people ask questions, I'd be stoked.
Yeah, man, I'll just make it short and sweet. We have an interview, by the way. I interviewed with my man Boris. If you want the full story, it's on YouTube. I'm sure he's told you that already, but long story short, I got into Methodist University's PA program located in Fayetteville, North Carolina, to start in the fall of 2016. Unfortunately, I did not make it through. I think I was like 1 semester away from starting clinicals, actually. Left in August of 2017. Went home, worked, moved out, tried to figure out my next step, went into a master's in physiology. I went into the master's of physiology program at NC State University. Started that in the fall of 2019, graduated from there in fall of 2021, applied to PA schools after graduating, got 2 interviews with MEDEX in Northwest at the University of Washington and Rutgers University. Got accepted to both and chose to attend Rutgers University's PA program starting in the fall of 2022. Fast forward, here I am, 3 months out of graduating. Still a lot of work to do in between then. Not out the woods yet, but yeah. So if I can do it twice, you guys, it's a lot of perseverance, a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity. I'm not saying it's going to be easy because it's going to be hell on earth. A lot I had to go through to get here, but if you really want something, you can achieve it. You just gotta decide how bad you want it and how much you're willing to sacrifice. I'm a firm believer anybody can accomplish anything they want to if they're willing to put in the work and if they're willing to sacrifice. A lot of people want the success, they want what comes with it. They don't want to do the work that it takes to get there. It's what I've learned through this journey. Any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Sorry, bro, that was a little more than 2 minutes.
No, that was perfect, man. You followed instructions. That's why you're going to be a good PA. And no, you actually got one question here so far. So looks like Dia's asking, James, can you share what caused you to not make it through? What to avoid in order for us to make it through the first time, so we don't have to, do PA school twice?
Yeah, I think the thing about PA school, Mia, is it's kind of like people tell you how hard it is, but you don't know until you actually get in there. And at that point, it's too late, right? You can't hit the pause button. You've taken out a loan. You've always taken out all this loan money, and you're just here. And so make sure you're ready, as I would say. I'm glad I did that master's program prior to applying the second time. That really got me ready. Plus, I knew what to expect. Unfortunately, with first-time applicants, that's just not the case. You don't know what to expect because you haven't been there, right? But knowing how to study, what works for you, being able to be flexible in your study habits. If one thing's not working, please feel free to try something different. Don't be stubborn and try to do the same thing over and expect different results. That's insanity, right? And so know your learning style, if you're visual, if you're tactile, if you're auditory, whatever it is. And just be prepared to have like a lot of grit. A lot of grit. You may have to work real hard. You may not get as high grades as you hope. But if you put in the work and whatnot, you should be a lot more, you should be successful your first time around, is what I would say.
Yeah, most people are, but that's like whenever on the PA school forums, the Facebook pages or whatever, I see people who just got in and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a PA." And it's like most people will, but the fact that some people fail out, the fact that some people even who did really well don't pass the pants the first time, second time or ever,
Yeah,
those are realities, man.
right.
So
Yeah, right. Side note, I don't know if Boris has probably touched on this already, but you can take the pants up to 6 times. I learned that.
6.
6, yes.
Woo!
After 6 times, they tell you to go back to PA school. But I've never heard anybody take that many times. I think one girl I heard took it 5 times, but she was kind of like different. But that's their here.
5 times.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. I took it once. James, you're going to only take it once. All right. I promise you.
$500, bro. Too expensive to take it more than once.
Yo, okay. So I don't know why I still have these out, but these are my my pants note cards. This is how many note cards I made to study for the pants. And I knew every damn one of them backwards and forwards. And I still was like 50th percentile, middle of the road, But yeah, so the pants is hard, but it's doable. Before we finish here, I do want to make sure we get to all the questions, or at least some of them.
Yeah. No, good.
Debbie Maxwell says, "Hey, James, congrats. My question is, as an African-American man, did you face any challenges as you were applying?"
Good question. I would say probably not. So I think the biggest thing, it's hard being an African American male. In PA school, we're like 1% of the profession. And so being there, getting a second interview, obviously, you're gonna have to explain your background and what happened. That was the biggest thing for me, is convincing the school to give me another opportunity. Schools were probably scared initially looking at my application. So I had to convince them why I wasn't damaged goods and I would make good on my promise of getting through. I just need another opportunity to show so and whatnot. Other than that, it's more so like being in school. When you're the only black male or one of two, it's like me and my boy John. It's just awkward because anytime we talk about racial bias or issues, of course, eyes turn towards us, and you don't want to say anything out of line. You don't want to be a problem or whatnot. Perceptions, because even most of my faculty are Caucasian, and so it's just one of those stigma things. It gets frustrating at times, even times where I get frustrated, like I'm always self-conscious about my behavior. I'm like, I can't get angry or just like blow up, because the perception is just like angry black man. He's a big dude. He's 6 foot. He's broad. Like, this is not good, And even if they do it subconsciously and don't realize it, it's still there. So being mindful of those things, even when you are frustrated, even when you feel like things aren't going right or whatever the situation may be, that can be tough. But I guess one way to look at it is just getting ready for the profession, the real world. There may be a patient that may not want me to treat them simply because of the color of my skin. I mean, this stuff really happens. And so this is just kind of a microcosm or microspec of what to get ready for.
Yeah. As far as applying, as we just saw in the rubric, it's actually an advantage, being from an underrepresented population.
Oh yeah. And I apologize if I didn't get to that, bro. But yeah, applying. It's the one time I can say like being black, especially being a black male, is like to your extreme advantage. Is applying. Like, it's with the exception of like Morehouse, Meharry, and like or University of Maryland Eastern Shore, these HBCUs that are predominantly black, the classic predominantly black PA programs. All other schools, just like if they see a black male, solid application. I mean, they'll snatch you up because diversity is really being pushed these days by the AAPA within these PA programs. You look at any school, you see them. Maybe if you see one black person, it's a good thing. Seriously.
Weren't we talking about, this was like when we did our video months ago, but weren't we talking about like a vanilla ice cream cone with like how many sprinkles? And you're like, no, bro, it's like one sprinkle.
Facts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was like that. But on the other hand, so you said in like some patients, in clinical year, don't want you to treat them and like they have bias, which is effed up. But like the person like did all the work to get in there and it's like, no, you're not good enough because F you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to swear on here, but F you.
Yeah. Seriously.
But on the other hand, I remember you telling me a story about how there was a young African-American patient and he saw you and you like his eyes like hit the ceiling. He was like, what? You're treating me? And you're like, yeah, I'm just a student. He's like, doesn't matter. Like, you're going to do a lot of good.
Yes, sir.
So it's probably really gratifying the other way too, when people are super happy to see you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if you have anything else like really important to say on the topic, but I've got a couple questions here for you
Go
before
ahead, go ahead with the question.
I end this.
Yeah.
So this one should be pretty simple. What were James's stats, GPA, patient care experience, if he's comfortable sharing?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Let me say this about stats. I've told Boris this, I'm pretty sure. You guys, stats are very, very variable. They matter, but I don't want you to think like I've seen people with better stats than me not get into PA school. I've seen people with worse stats than me get into PA school. So like just because somebody shares their stats with you, that doesn't necessarily mean whether you're above or below that you'll get there or not, if that makes sense. But my undergrad was like a 2.8, did a post back, got around a 3.0 or close to it. My master's at NC State was a 3.824. Volunteer hours was probably 200 to 300. PCE hours was probably, I have no other, close to 8,000.
Wow.
I did a variety. I did an internship with Wake Forest School of Medicine in their cancer biology department and the women's health. That's pretty much it. Yeah, but like I said, my journey's been extremely lengthy, so that explains why the PC hours are so long. But yeah, my grades was the biggest problem with me. I had too much fun in undergrad, so I had to go the long route. Just a word of advice, you guys, like do well in your sciences, do well in undergrad the first time, so you don't have to retake courses because that saves you a lot of time and a whole lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first time it sounds like, very similar stats to mine, 3.0 GPA, did a post back, got it up, got into PA school, then ended up, not making it through. Then you did the master's, and that's when you
Right.
Made it through the second time. And then also just a ton of volunteering and a ton of patient care experience. So fantastic, man.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic applicant. Yeah, I can see why you got where you are. I'm officially every minute past 6. I'm officially late for my session, but this is so valuable. I if the person's freaking out, I'll apologize. We have one guy. We have one guy named B on YouTube that says, "Brah, I have a 2.2 GPA as a junior in high school. Trying to raise my GPA as much as possible this year. If I get four GPA straight, the rest, would you think I have a chance?" Yeah, dude. You're in high school. You're okay.
Yeah.
Getting into Rad Tech school, local community college. I cooked my freshman and sophomore years with absences. Yeah, I mean, if I was in your shoes, like I'd much rather kind of have a come to Jesus moment in high school than college. Because CASPA doesn't look at your high school transcript. Nobody looks at your high school transcript.
No.
You have to get into community college. You do well for like a year, you can transfer into a normal 4-year university.
Yep.
And it never happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, not a big deal at all. So promise me, okay, you got time, hon. Yeah, absolutely, Bia. Okay, literally anybody and everyone watching this, if you're following my channel and you're not striving for straight A's, if you're okay with B's, you're in the wrong. If you don't know how to study, ask me, ask James. We'll get you right.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to probably get off of here. If anyone's still left, looks like TikTok kind of went down to a few different users. YouTube is actually picking up, which is sad because I'm about to end this. But if on YouTube and on TikTok, we can get a few more likes, if we can get past 1,200, I'd be stoked because that boosts my channel, helps it grow, and helps us bring you content like this more. I really, really, really want to do a live every single week. It's very hard for me because I work, a full-time job and a part-time job and still do this. But, I'll be motivated if you guys can help us out. If I can get any money coming in from this, I can do this more. And also James, once he graduates, I definitely want to get him on board because he's moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. He's going to be living in this building, man. Look at this view.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
I want you living in this building right here.
That's motivating, bro. That's beautiful.
Dude, you're going to have so much fun when you move here. It's not even funny. Yep. But yeah. Sure. All right. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the likes. Thanks for all the engagement. James will be back. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'd love to do a live where it's just mostly James and less me because he's got so much to say. So yeah, I'm going to get off of here. TikTok. Peace out. There we go. So, and YouTube also peace out. Actually, never mind. James is on here, so we'll keep chatting for a second.
Yeah.
Yo, we got 378 viewers, 3 new followers, 10 followers who commented, and I don't know how many likes. 1,300.
That's dope, bro.
Yo, somebody watched this whole thing for 45 minutes. That's amazing.
That's dope, bro. Yeah,
dude. Okay. You know when I learned about how to do a live? I was watching the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and this one dude who has about the same number of followers as I do, but he's got like 2 million likes. And the way he does it is he goes live and he's like, guys, I'm going to stop to give me some likes. And then I did that and it worked.
Did it? Okay.
Freaking amazing, dude.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Literally, we're going to get this channel bigger. We're going to send your message out to more people.
Do it, man. Please do. I look forward to working with you when I move down there for sure.
Seriously, man. Absolutely.
That's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. But I'm going to get this. Actually, hold on. I'm going to end the stream now.
Okay.
Here we go. The stream has ended. You're still in here.